same time, you still want to put the odds into your sides where you want to play the better seeds, the team that you want to face yourself. Depending on these teams, actually. I mean, we spoke to Raucus before, and he's like, I don't care who we really face. I'd like to play the top teams right away, and there's probably that mentality for all of these teams right now in North America that they don't care if they have to play as Sentinels and Envy in round number 1. They just want to play whoever it takes to be able to win that first place in First Strike Regionals. So last map now on the way. Immortals on the defender side, TSM on the attacker side. And Subroza sticking over to that Raze. You have Drone on the Phoenix, Wardell on the Jett. Everything else hasn't changed here for TSM. And for Immortals, you have that Sova that comes back. You have Reyna still in the hands of Shanks. And you have jmoh playing forward here at the mid side and the Ghost as a Jett.
Immortals desperately trying to recover after that last map. TSM has all the steam moving forward in their direction. jcStani about to peek out, spots a couple of targets. Can't win in the battle. It's down to Neptune now. It's a 1-on-3. How quickly things have turned in the favor of TSM. And it continues to go that way as they pick up the pistol after winning that second map. One thing you have to talk about. Immortals came out of that first map with a hot hand. TSM responded. Can Immortals do the same thing? Can Immortals lose a map like they just lost and bounce back? It's tough because you've got younger players and less experienced players as a whole over on the side of Immortals. So the question is, are they capable of having that staying power? Can they kind of rebound, forget the last map, not let it affect their mental state or not? Time will tell.
TSM is definitely in a position from the highs and lows that they've had so far as this team to not be fazed by any type of that mental pressure that they might get from the community. And they're just here to play the game. Immortals, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing right now. Despite losing 13-6, they still won a 13-2. So if you want to be optimistic about it, they know that they have what it takes to bring it up and fight face-to-face, toe-to-toe with TSM. And we do have the L drone that's going to try to clear out the B site, but that's going to be a tell here for the back of the defender spawn. But we are looking to break that door right open. It's going to be a bloodbath as soon as it breaks and it comes through. And it's still going to be TSM taking the upper hand, not needing to focus towards the back of the site. Finally, they will because Shanks just got a kill onto Drone. A 3 versus 1, and it's only a 1 versus 1 that's needed as Subroza wins that versus the Frenzy and adds the scoreline up to 2.
Full buy is going to be coming in for Immortals here. On the other side, you still got a lot of Bulldogs. Now, we talked about this with Wardell. Typically, Wardell doesn't spend too much because he wants to save up and buy the AWP in the 3rd round. This time, that's not the case. Spending a little bit of extra cash results in him having to use a Phantom here. It's not like a big deal. It's just an interesting note. Wardell, speaking of him, catches a shock dart straight to the belly. So he's going to be down on 60 HP to start the round. Good utility use coming in from Immortals to heavily weaken a player who was putting up serious numbers on split against them just a few moments ago. Shanks and Neptune both playing defense towards B, but they're going to be moving up towards Cat, and that's why Drones found that early execution onto Genghsta. jmoh's around the corner as well. The nade is in and a shock dart as well. jmoh's down on 34 HP. The A site has not actually been lost. They didn't push in. So Subroza right now lurking on the back end of this play. And he's found a free kill onto jmoh, and he's looking for more. Meanwhile, Neptune's over towards spawn stairs, trying to stop this push. They've got players coming in from B main and also stuck in the cubby after dropping out of market. There's no one on the site, so the spike will be planted. But significant damage dealt to some of the players from TSM.
The Shadow Step might think that there was only one player playing towards logs. So Drone is still in a very big spot here, just around the corner. Neptune's trying to watch it from the market, but the retake attempt still has to be pressured on by Immortals to try to get into the site. So as the footsteps are being heard, Drone is trying to watch his versus his double peek from Shanks, and Shanks is going to win it. But it's traded off by hazed on that sidewalk. neptune coming in forward. His teammate right behind him. He does get the first kill onto hazed, just at the back of the side. Only 11 HP and down to 0. jcStani picks up the last one. They get the defuse and the first point on the scoreboard.
Yeah, you got to look back at that early shock dart that came through that weakened Wardell. Had huge impact on the round. Wardell ends up being in a 1v1 where he's even lower on HP. It goes the way of Immortals. So they pick up the first buy round. What's the response from TSM? They immediately go back and spend on the round. So there will be an investment coming in from TSM.
Yeah.
But two players are going to be on a bit of a weaker buy. You've got hazed, who's forced to go down to an SMG. And Wardell might just opt for a pistol here to save money for the op for future rounds. He's buying a little bit more. He actually goes all the way down to a Guardian. Okay.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually try to battle for the orb on A, then run all the way back to B and fight for the orb on B.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, it's not going to be the case. He's going for a Guardian.
Careful now.
And they still have orb control here. It's going to be Drone that's going to pick it up instead. So he's one away from getting to run it back. And this could still be doable, actually. They could still walk back all the way to B, fight for that orb on B side. But it's going to be Subroza that's going to pop up the showstopper instead. So that procced and ready. But it doesn't hear the Guardian's ring, right? It's trying to get a couple of picks, but through the wall, but it's not. It's just going to really force Immortals to fall back for a bit. And they're going to look to work towards the A side with the showstopper that they just picked up.
hazed makes contact with jcStani, but it's too late. His teammate Subroza was gunned down behind him. We've got jmoh, who's currently behind the big box top site. Nice blaze wall curved around the corner to allow them to get to the switch. And drones picked off jmoh. That's the A site now empty, and they are able to get out. At least try to get the spike down, but look how fast the push is already coming through for the retake. Neptune's found one as well. Coming it from into heaven, they've stopped the spike plant, and it's down to 18 seconds left. They need to hold to prevent these players from coming through from A main. Shanks does so well, and it's down to Cutler, and he's running low on ammo and HP as well. The round nearly expires before Cutler does first. And we're tied at 2 apiece. So nice little response from Immortals, and they kept their composure across those last 2 rounds to force TSM down into save territory.
Just really nicely played by Immortals to have those 2 players at the doorway. They took advantage of areas that were weak on TSM's attempt of a plant, and even worse when they would go on a pulse plant. Because imagine if they did get the spike down, they'd still have to fall back into different positions where they will be exposed from the doorway already when 2 players are there. It could have been a situation where you have, I think it was Cutler, right? Sova at the front, A main will have to try to clutch it again. Or clutch it for the first time into this map.
Get out of my way!
But just being able to take them down, getting Wardell out of position, wasn't expecting that. He even dashed back in the open. Couldn't get a kill with the Guardian. Just allowed Immortals to get that save on that round. So 2-2. Knives are now popped out. Silver lining is that the ultimate that was built from the kill from Joel in that previous round and the showstopper that was ready on that previous round are now procced up for this round here. But on pistols, we don't know if they're actually going to use that. Not needed. Definitely not needed after that kill.
Wardell flies out over top of the roof, not prepared for targets on the other side. So Shanks with Empress able to take care of Wardell. Subroza flies in and actually gets taken out before being able to fire off a rocket. So the showstopper ult also not having an effect. For the most part, the ults here from TSM didn't really do too much. The pistol comes out on the end from Shanks, but it's neptune from behind to actually get the follow-up. 3-2 Immortals taking the lead away, and Shanks and neptune starting to feel it. They're starting to heat up a bit.
Yeah. So the retaliation they have just from the pick was bringing that cyber cage up, and after that, I'm pretty sure it was more than just a dart. There was definitely a recon arrow that came out, because I saw 2 players that were pinged through the point of view of Shanks, which definitely allowed all of Immortals to just stay back towards the spawn and just spray towards the area and make things a lot more difficult for TSM. And as they lose a player towards the back of the B, they're trying to get something done with the showstopper to try to regain control of the B side map. But it's just well for them to waste that. Shanks with the Leer. And a double peek to get the kill onto Subroza. The hat being thrown by neptune. And a run it back to try to open the A side. Drone is going to try to even up the tally. And as he gets stopped there from the tree side, jcStani gets 2 kills of his own, and that seems to be coming from the A side in the back of Hell. And as the blaze wall comes down, another to fall. Heroic attempts to not come into fruition for TSM. For Hazed is on a 5 versus 1. Looking for an ace if he wants to win. And with the time remaining, there's still a minute left on the clock. So if he's able to capitalize on maybe some mistakes for Immortals where he could separate multiple occasions of 1 versus 1, it can still be doable. Here's the first, and that's going to be the only one. jcStani adds 3 to the board, and we have a 4-on-2 for Immortals.
Numbers climbing for some of the top performers for IMT. Hazed putting in a good performance thus far, though, 7-4 for the Omen. The money again for TSM, suboptimal. So sub-machine guns will come into play. Stingers for Subroza and Cutler. Frenzies for Drone and Wardell. Hazed, he's a vintage man. He prefers the classic.
Revealing area.
Here they go, though. Fast play towards the B site. We'll see if those Stingers can be deadly or not. Wardell gets into the switch house, and they've actually done a decent job of overwhelming this site. It comes down to jcStani back site, but we've seen that before. The Stinger, even from that distance, can be very difficult to deal with. Now, they haven't planted the spike just yet. jmoh does have the ult out, so they'll use the owl drone to clear things out as it flies over top of the roof, looking to spot out these players. Knows exactly where they're at. Missed knife from jmoh, wants to get vertical, though. Ends up hitting a wire. So that's a little bit disappointing. The wire bounces him back down. It's possible, of course, he could have gone for that dash out. They're going to start spamming the wall, looking to connect with Wardell, the only remaining member here of TSM. Still stuck in the boathouse in the 1-on-2 as the bomb ticks down further and further. The spike getting closer and closer to that detonation point. But it's Wardell from the backside of sight as jmoh makes the mistake of extending the challenge just a bit too far with the dash. Big clutch from Wardell to win the round for TSM.
Genghsta did whatever he could there to help on that 2 versus 2 retake. The recon owl was perfect to spot the first player in the back of the boathouse, even seeing the top of the head of Subroza after that plant. So they knew exactly the positioning of Wardell and a Subroza. Gets a sharp dart for the kill, and a recon in the boathouse where you wanted to get that spray come through and get that hit onto Wardell, but it didn't come into fruition for jmoh. And that on a 2 versus 1 for Wardell, you gotta love it. I think that was a mistake to dash into the boathouse, but Wardell definitely capitalized on that one.
Well, TSM, they've got themselves in a decent position. jmoh, oh, that's awkward. What happened there? He dashed away, but the dash looks like it almost like got canceled. It just didn't really do anything.
Probably the
That was
aim
bizarre.
punch. He was getting hit through the wall there.
Yeah, it was really strange to say the least. Now, Drone has picked off jcStani, and that's opened up the site. So that op pick early on short doesn't have all that much impact. jmoh looking to line up a shot there with the dart going through. But it's just incredibly difficult for them to try to get out onto this site. Now there's the pulses coming out from Genghsta's Hunter's Fury. Nearly connects with that target back behind the generator who was on site, very low on HP as well, so it would have been a fatality. jmoh has to connect with an op here. Right around the corner they go. There's one right around the corner towards the switch. The pistol comes out. The sidearm's not strong enough. Genghsta, 1-on-3 and surrounded. Well played by TSM. And Immortals money probably not in a good place. So, no, they've still got plenty of cash. Never mind. Another buy will come through.
Definitely took advantage for TSM to get into that A main side, into the site, while everybody's really focused on trying to keep jmoh alive with the experience. With the expensive purchase that he had with the operator at the beginning, especially with the pick that he got. With him falling back towards the tree side, and everybody focusing back on the spray that happened towards Catwalk, TSM was able to really push into the A side main. And despite Genghsta going with the Hunter's Fury, with the recon darts, it still wasn't enough here for the positioning of TSM on the pulse plant. And now you still have the ops, but this time in the hands of Shanks, who's looking back towards, it seems, his B main. while Owl Drone is trying to regain control for TSM at A. But as they know where it's actually breaking out from, they know that it's coming back from very far back for Immortals. So you see them slowly pressing forward, sorry. And they're going to try to look back towards the orb. So a very, very slow round for TSM, who looks to be switching for a split towards B. They have a trap wire up, or neptune can really slow things down as soon as something comes up. And now that it's broken, the camera's there too. Shanks still lands the first shot towards B main, and there you go. That's good enough for the first 2 kills.
A little scary there for a second with the way that Shanks was escaping down sidewalk and the threat was coming through from Market.
30 seconds left.
But Immortals still has themselves in a favorable position. Now, Hazed does have mid control. He's pushed all the way up to Pizza. But as I say that, he gets dinked through the wall. He's going to try to escape and head back towards A. Let's see if this ult gets canceled. It does. You can see with the Omen positioning that they were going to make it difficult. 11 seconds now, and the spike, it got dropped on the other side of the wall. That's the round over. The door goes down as they enter the site, but the spike lands in Garden. Heck W. Wardell's the only survivor. He's stuck in hell currently, and it's Immortals who's trying to send them to the afterlife, but he manages to survive with 79 HP. A big win for Immortals and a massive flub there. Just kind of the nature of circumstances. It wasn't a mistake. It just happened. It's unfortunate.
You saw it. He was trying to run through that door, and it was like slowly closing on him. He had that door stuck moment happening, but thankfully, with him saving the operator into the next round, he still had 5,000 credits, so he's still going to be able to drop for his teammates. So they'll still have a full gun round for TSM. And the thing is, they're like, oh, well, it seems to be a close game at this point, but TSM still has the defender side to play. So it's really not over yet here for Immortals. They have to fight to have a better lead to finish the half 8-4 in their favor if they want to, in my opinion, stand a chance on TSM's defense. And it starts off with Omen really holding it towards the wine. So a position that hasn't been held yet by Immortals since the beginning of this half. This could be a big position for them.
Embarrassing.
The flank's going to come through. It's going to be a fake and it works out.
Careful now.
Drone. Using the run it back, runs inside dark cover, throws hot hands down, but it's a ruse. They're actually heading across the map now. Wardell hits a nice shot with the op, but he had the spike, so he can't actually get out across. He relies on his teammates a little bit harder. It's okay in the end. As again, they're peeking from heaven, and they just keep going right back into Wardell's crosshair. 3 kills on the round for him. We're back at a tie score here. And the money for Immortals, it's shaky, but a buy will come out. It just won't be perfect.
It seems as though somehow the run it back really surprised whoever was playing on that sidewalk, because as he turned away to try to jump into the site, he jumped into the wall. And because of that, you pulled out so much of the rotations from the A site over towards B, where, like I said, jcStani had a great position towards that wine. He didn't know that the attack was going to happen towards the A site eventually, where if they actually were able to fall back safely and they're creeping up slowly in that area, it would have been a different story for Immortals. But you got to give it for Drone. Keeping the first kill, putting the hot hands down, spraying through the smoke towards the spawn side. Things got a little bit hectic for Immortals on the defense. And now as they want to bring the pressure back on their side, Shanks is in a great position to get an opening onto B-Link. While Subroza is just waiting around the corner, also has a showstopper ready. But Subroza, you could see, he's just looking to play to cut rotations, and there's that timing. He gets the kill, and they're probably going to split inside this A site once again. But the from the shadows is canceled immediately, and jcStani gets 2 kills inside the site.
Cover going out.
jcStani inside the site. Has a couple of targets waiting on the other side in aim, but they've actually backed off. They've abandoned Subroza, who was on CAC, who's also now changing directions and moving over towards mid a little bit more, but realizes he's got to stick around a bit and ends up taking care of Genghsta in the process. Now they've gained access to this site, which is the big part. They'll be able to get across. They get that spike plant as well. Oh, that's awkward. Luckily, the dash is present for Wardell, who ends up getting trapped inside a cyber cage as well. But he does have an op. And there's the peek coming up from Wardell. He plays it masterfully. jmoh was not prepared. The spike's been planted. It's a 2-on-3. How quickly things have turned in favor of TSM.
One enemy remaining.
And this round is really Subroza going to work.
Yeah, they forgot that Subroza was still on the flank. You know, Subroza's name in Latin, it comes from a Latin phrase, Subroza, literally meaning in secret. So no surprise there that he secretly sneaks his way up catwalk and comes in with a huge flank. And ends up being pivotal to the round win for TSM. What he did on Cat, he finds 3 kills in the round. The last kills, I mean, maybe he doesn't get those kills, but the site's already lost and the round's already lost for Immortals.
Exactly.
It's his kills on catwalk that really solidified things. It kept them guessing, constantly having to look back. The rotate comes through slower as a result. It's just really well played. You saw him try to rotate out. Even I called it. He was going to rotate back to mid, but he stayed around instead. And it produced success for TSM.
Definitely some unfortunate timing from shanks too. He was looking at that angle for the longest time from the other side of the Subroza stairs, ironically enough, is what we call it. But literally at that spot, he was looking back towards the link for the longest time, didn't see anybody lurk around, and as soon as he walks back up towards that staircase, well, Subroza lurks out. So you see Immortals on a force coming through on this last round, not healthy at all in terms of their weapons, and they're pushing out towards the A main and not seeing the opposition from jcStani at the beginning. Rotating back their resources towards mid and catwalk. Just around the corner of the B entrance are 2 players, and you could definitely go for the Lear burst again if they want to. But it seems as though it might be the, hey, let's put up the cyber cage as soon as we hear something. There you go. And if they execute, they could actually go for this double peek instead.
There's the rocket coming in as Subroza gets vertical, but
wow, okay.
While he's mid-air, he gets sliced up by jmoh.
30 seconds left.
So it's a 3-2 favoring Immortals.
Somehow.
Yeah, we might find ourselves at a tie scoreline as we move into the second half. We talked about how one-sided the last 2 maps were. How appropriate that we'd have a close game here on the 3rd and final map of the series. Genghsta does get smoked off. Dark cover lands right on top of him. Hazed is going to move in first. The knives not where they need to be, but Genghsta's able to spot out his target. That's the spike planter. The recon dart does everything. All the dirty work done by the recon dart. A thrifty round win
Switching
to cap
sides.
off this first half. Impressive from Immortals, but a hotly contested game thus far. Hazed, top performer for TSM, 13-8, 14-9 for jcStani on the other side. You know, we've talked about jmoh, we've talked about shanks, we even talked about Genghsta because of that ridiculous rocket. But we really haven't talked about jcStani that much until now.
Yeah, no, he's definitely blossoming in this 3rd map. And now with this gun round that we have, it's going to be 4 players playing with ghosts for Immortals on the attack. And they are setting up for something very quick towards this B main. As they do have, let's see, a paranoia that could be thrown to give a chance here for shanks and jmoh to move forward. But it's going to be a smoke instead at the spawn. And it's going to be a full-out rush. So a big hold that's coming up here for Subroza. And that starts with a boom bot in the face, but no kills. Shanks and Genghsta still opening up in the staircase, though. Hazed inside B site, unfortunately dropped. A 3-on-2 with a spike plant for Immortals. Color gonna try to come back through spawn. Drone at B main. So they do have at least that map control. So they know the 3 players are pretty much pinned inside the site.
Shock dart.
And they have a Sova to actually try to get that information. They still have a recon dart too.
Recon darts from both sides giving out some information. Drone currently sitting inside a smoke. He wants to go ahead and go through. So there's the flashbang through. Love the look as the curveball connects. But now it's all up to Drone. The hot hands goes in, forces one into the corner, and it's the molly kill onto Genghsta. The pistols come out, but time is running low. This is well played from Drone, but the clock works against him. He might not even be able to escape the spike just on the edge. Immortals pick up the pistol round win, but everyone dies in the process.
And that was a revenge. A 1-versus-1 between Drone and Shanks, where that last time that they met off was not too long ago. The second half pistol round of Split, where Drone was the one that was able to capitalize on that and get the defuse in. But unfortunately, it is going to be, or fortunately, if you are in the shoes of Shanks, the round comes into your favor as a sub. saving that pistol for Immortals and adding the economy into this round.
To our observers, I want to see that worm again. I want to ask Riot, is that an homage to... I'm trying to remember what movie it is. I think it's Spaceballs, where it makes fun of aliens when the alien comes out of the stomach, but instead he comes out of the stomach and does like a dance or like the Warner Brothers frog with a cane and a top hat. And I'm wondering, like, I feel like that might be an homage in some way. Who knows? Maybe I'm just imagining things.
The worm?
The worm, yeah. It's a scene in Spaceballs. Like the alien baby comes flying out of his stomach, and then as he dances away, he like has a cane and top hat, and he starts singing like the Warner Brothers song. I don't know the actual song.
Unless you're talking about like
Kench
Bench.
No, I'm talking about the worm.
I didn't even notice.
It's in mid. It's on top of a book. It's on a placard. I think it's actually over towards A as well. Regardless, the round is live, so we should actually talk about that instead.
That's true. That's true. Let's do that instead.
And Baseballs. But it's 4 players remaining for TSM. There's a dark cover down on the door, and Immortals is going to explode on the site off that one.
30 seconds left.
Now, TSM doesn't exactly have great firepower coming into this, so this is exactly what one would expect. The SMGs a little bit too powerful for them. Even the rifle brought in by jcStani. Wardell tries to dash away, caught out by the SMG. A flawless round win for Immortals. They'll take the lead, 8-6 over TSM. TSM was looking good early on. There's the worm, see? Look.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a worm with a top hat and a cane. It reminds me of a scene from Spaceballs. Maybe it's totally wrong.
I think you are.
Maybe I'm the only... Here's the thing, that's a nerdy movie, and I'd like to think people who make video games are pretty nerdy too. So I'm hopeful. If you work at Riot and you know the answer, DMs are open. I need to know.
TSM now looking for a pick early on Catwalk with Wardell having that operator, while the rest of Immortals are looking to take this A control off the back of the Owl drone. And we're going back to pretty much what we saw from Haven at Immortals. For Immortals, run behind the Owl drone, be very explosive, get into the sights, and it's jmoh, of all names again, coming in for the entry.
Spike planted.
And the whole W get into the site continues to work for this attacker side. Oh, wow. That's a great way to go for the spray, the spam, the headshot onto Shanks. And a 4-on-4, the spike just freshly planted. So still very doable here for TSM to retake.
Wardell doing him dirty through the floor with the hop. The rest of Immortals looks to survive a little while longer. Double curveball coming out from Drone as they try to get back out.
Big dart.
Spam coming through the floor. It's doing significant damage to some of them, but jmoh's more so on the receiving end than the rest. jcStani now falling as well as Genghsta. It's all up to the last remaining player. It was jmoh. He's low on HP. Wardell should have the time for the defuse. As TSM gets back into the site, it's going to be close.
Oh my God.
0.3. Never trust Van Silly. It's all here. The bald guy knows box.
Is that the lowest diffuse that I've seen now?
What didn't we have 0.03?
That's true. We had a
0.03 was the lowest and that happened this event, if I'm not mistaken. There was a 0.03.
Yeah. That is crazy. That is crazy. Well, they do get the defuse. It was close, and I gotta say that's off the back of you know, some heroic effort after these darts that keep coming out from Genghsta. The amount of recon arrows on these holds, on these retakes from Genghsta, the Owl drone. I mean, you called the amount of assists that Genghsta was able to get to when they were playing on Haven. He's doing a lot of work here with the Sova, and that definitely deserves that praise into that round. But unfortunately, still, it's TSM with the firepower, with the spray that they had from the operator from Wardell that's somehow still connecting onto Shanks. The luck came on their side, and it got the defuse. Now they're exploding into the A side for Immortals, and it's still being held trade for trade. As the spike's about to go down on a 3-3, but Wardell is about to inch out. And as he peek, he does connect onto Shanks one more time. They also have a run it back if they want to go for this aggressively, just to try to get the information. Especially with Shanks, Genghsta still being alive. And there you go. Run it back as neptune gets the first kill. They know where the opponents are coming from. The last one is going to be on Catwalk, but he's made it towards the generator. Don't know if he got spotted here. Indeed it does. Looks like he has. And as it gets pinged out, he gets the clutch. Well done by neptune.
Always play high stakes.
To make it 9-7.
Huge play from neptune. Drones coming through with the run it back. So he repositions as he gets zapped back to his original position, throws the hat out to make sure he's still coming closer and closer to the edge, and he just keeps sneaking back further and further, getting into a better angle. neptune has a massive advantage there, being on the lower side of sight. Immortals keeps control of the scoreboard. There will not be a tie here as they continue with the lead 9-7. Again, jcStani with an incredible performance. Now, Wardell does have Bladestorm available, so the knives are going to come out early on from the Jett main for TSM. Nothing spotted initially, though. You can see right now it's a very pensive approach from Immortals. They're playing back pretty far. There's one sitting in mid, just kind of hiding in the corner and B connector. The rest slowly working towards B main, where Subroza is holding currently. He had the Sheriff out, but it's a nice little toss on the Cyber Cage on a jump peek from neptune that forces him back just a bit further. And they'll use that to get further up, and that's brutal. Well played from Shanks on the edge of the Cyber Cage that was thrown down by neptune. A dismiss to peek towards Sidewalk, just to spot if anyone's there, but there's not. Wardell is currently hiding inside the smoke on spawn. His teammate Drone just fell right in front of him. Wardell wants to pounce, but he's waiting for his team to get into position. There's the smoke that comes through. First knives on the money, looking for a follow-up. He's gonna get it! Wardell's found 3. He's made it manageable. It's down to now a 1-on-2, but we gotta see what hazed is working with. It's just a frenzy, no armor. Throws down dark cover, does have paranoia to work with, that's important. He's also got the shrouded step, so there's a possibility to try and sneak away. Now that dart, that's gonna make things a little awkward. They're trying to spam him through the wall. There's finally a weapon pickup for hazed, but time is becoming a problem. So at this point, he's just gonna set up and wait for exits, wait for them to try and jump out. They're not giving him anything to work with. A dig shot comes through, but Immortals survives the round. Almost lost there in the mid round as Wardell went off with the knives, but it just wasn't enough effort. And unfortunately, TSM do fall.
Still got to give it to Wardell, though, with the Bladestorm. The surprise attack from dashing in, you can't really ask for anything more from this man after he gets the 3 kills. But unfortunately for hazed, he was still a little bit too far back to go and assist his teammate. So to leave him on a 2 versus 1, but on an eagle that they have, you still got to get that. You still got to give that for TSM. But this is the round coming in for Immortals. And it's going to be very similar to previous rounds where they're looking to play off the back of the Owl drone. And Subroza this time playing towards the A site. Good way to throw the paint shells right inside the dark cover to slow them down. Oh, we actually already poured it into the site with jcStani. He's poured it on the top, so he's trying to shoot his feet down and manages to do so with help from Genghsta. He's the one that's going to be credited for the kill. But we still have a retaliation from the Hunter's Fury as Cutler connects. But the spike is just now about to be planted. 3 players
Spike
already rotating from TSM. Curveball early to try to go for a peek. Wardell to drop down. Spotting neptune on a one-way smoke. Trading out at the generator. They don't know where the last player is at, though, for Immortals. So they could still play this very slowly. But after that recon dart, you know, generator and A main now for TSM as they attempt to go for this retake. Dropping down is going to be Cutler with the headshot onto jcStani, and Genghsta will have to try to clutch. It's a Hunter's Fury, and it's planned to where he can go for that hit. Cutler just wants to die with it because he wants to bring it halfway. That's so well done. Sacrifice yourself to bring it halfway so that drone can go for the full defuse, knowing that Genghsta is ulting all the way back from the orb side. And that's the kill right after, so that's beautiful.
I mean, that's Clutchler. Look, he doesn't have to win the round with the kill. It's him just sticking the spike, sacrificing himself for the greater good. 10 assists currently for him as well, despite the fact that he's on the bottom of the scoreboard. That's a big round win, and it's because of that heroic effort to get the spike to halfway. And it was just too much distance between Immortals, Sova, and the spike to do anything about it. Now you do have an ult right off the bat. Caught by TSM. Into the shadows, coming in from hazed as he makes his way towards long A. Drone's gonna go big, finding 2 kills. hazed has found one across the map after using his ult to get behind enemy lines. And now we're down to 2 players, jmoh being one of them. who at least guarantees control of the site for the time being. Now, an Aldrone was about to come out around the corner, but they cancel it as jmoh is just a little too close. jmoh's now snuck into the market. The line of sight for hazed, not going to work out so well. So hold on, we're down to a 2-on-2. This was looking very manageable for Immortals, but it's starting to fall apart. And look at the play from jcStani, never mind. I was saying, look at the play from jmoh. He was coming in on the flank, but they lined them up perfectly. And that's an impressive win from Immortals, but it's disappointing for TSM. Off the way that started, that should have been an easy round victory for them.
Holy crap, give that to jmoh at least, though. Really keeping TSM in the back of the spawn side, allowing all that to happen so that jcStani could be in a great position as TSM tries to push back from the spawn. Because he had to go in the back of the site to plant, and as you waste time for jmoh at the spawn side, he's able to jump back up on the sidewalk. And that's some great individual plays. That shouldn't have been a fight that was lost there for hazed. Unfortunately, he did get the first angle and the shot. But the white swing came back from jmoh to win that one. And Immortals are 2 rounds away of moving into the grand finals of the UMG Close Qualifier. And as they continue to press forward, it's always this A main. But the only thing that's really countered back from TSM is a smoke on the ground.
Immortals, they've got target set up with a solid crossfire waiting on the other side. The spike is moving back towards Catwalk. Got one playing Cat. It's Wardell, who's currently sitting towards the arch. He's waiting around the corner, and he's got a Bucky. He's prepared to deliver with a shotgun at point-blank range. How much will he get going for him? Now the flash goes behind him, and that's what results in success. The follow-up shot is not a fatal blow. Now there's only one still standing inside A site. It's Cutler, who's immediately traded out by Genghsta. The 3-on-2. Immortals have control of the site. Drone's going to go ahead and pop the ult, run it back into the site. Great shots coming out from Drone. And all of a sudden, we're in a 1-on-2. Things have quickly turned around. Drone with the 3K. Just as the ult expires, TSM prevent round number 12 for Immortals.
He did that by himself because Subroza was so far away. And somehow TSM still, they're not done. They're going to fight this until the end. And that's the second time that you're using a run it back to really come back into retaking the A site. But you popped it much earlier than the other times, and it paid off. It actually caught Immortals off guard. As they were expecting some sort of rotate to go for a double peek in the end, Drone just put the matters into his own hands. So TSM stays alive. It was actually a really broken buy at their end too, where they may have had a situation where it wasn't looking good for series point for Immortals in terms of economy for TSM. But now Shanks and company of Immortals are on a save, which allows the defender to bring this to an 11-10. But things have finally changed a bit in how they want to execute for Immortals. They're using the Aldrone back towards mid, but again, that could be the tell. Get ready for that one. You hear the Aldrone, there's probably some players right behind it. But it's making its way towards Catwalk. This is where Wardell rotated over, and now they're splitting into B instead.
Yeah.
See what they can try to do. Shanks trying to move in quick, but TSM is just cutting them apart. TSM has found double-digit rounds. Again, we talked about it. The first 2 maps in this series were blowouts. Map 1 went heavily in favor of Immortals, 13-2. Map 2, a little bit closer. TSM still takes it. We find ourselves at map 3. It's no surprise that we've got this close game before us. What's a bit shocking, though, is jcStani being at the top of the scoreboard, and I mean no disrespect, no shade thrown. But he's just not a player we typically profile as that performer because we've been watching the likes of Shanks and jmoh usually pop off for the team. Whereas on the other side, Subroza is struggling. Also not a player we typically see at the bottom of the scoreboard for TSM. Interesting storylines developing. Immortals still has the lead currently. And we'll see how they decide to react. It looks like it's going to be a fast flight into the A site. jmoh again, the first one to go in, trying to spray through the box, but it doesn't work out. Now Wardell has picked off one with the Blade Storm. hazed was the one inside to spot out jmoh initially, but he was traded out, spammed through the box, no surprise there. It's a 3-on-4. They have the site control, but they don't have the numbers in their favor. So they're going to try and find something here. Deep shock darts coming out to try to do some additional damage. They do have the opposing Sova very low on HP. Genghsta going into hell has to be careful, watching out for the spam. The curveball is going to be set up around the corner in just a moment. As you can see, Drone's already got it pulled through the X-ray. This is an incredibly important round. There's the first flash, recon dart going down. They know that he's close as they start to move their way out. They get all the way across. They're trying to find the openers they need. Now the flash goes down underneath, but it's Genghsta to go big. Oh my goodness, it almost was possible there, but Wardell survives, and he will get the defuse. Yet again, it's Wardell to defuse here on the spike. We are tied up at 11 apiece as TSM comes through on the retake.
I thought for a split second that that shot was a little bit missed on that recon dart that went onto the heaven side of spawn. That Immortals definitely would have seen that the execution was coming, the retake was about to happen. They had a perfect crossfire set up too inside that site. At the generator and also just under the boxes, off angle at the bottom instead of playing towards hell. But it turns out to be a great entry, and in the end, a clutch from Wardell to be able to save the round for TSM. We do have a tactical pause now for Immortals, where I think it makes sense. Right now, you have bought all the way down to 0. 100 for a couple of them, small shields across the board. You get a spike plant and you lose a round, at least you have a bit of economy, right? That's $2,900, 2,900 credits plus the 300 to be able to maybe salvage something into the next. But of course, you don't want that. You want to try to win this round. You want to try to break the economy back for TSM, make it low on their end. What do you want to try to do with this? You see, from the looks of it, at least from this overhead view of that minimap, is that they are still looking to work towards this A side, where they have found some success.
I mean, for Immortals, this feels like an all or nothing kind of round.
Correct.
You know, look at they spend everything.
Correct.
So the richest player after the purchase is jmoh, sitting at 400. Not having the best game, but jcStani has picked up the flak. See what happens here. Genghsta leading in to the A site with the owl drone, looking for that intel, not going to spot anything out early. It does look like they're just going to move in fast to this A site. You can see they've already got catwalk control. They want to go back to A because they feel like they've had some success there. So they actually do get out and across, but hazed his pick off jcStani. That's huge, as the top performer from Immortals is going to have to watch the rest of the round. Now Genghsta's going into a different spot than we typically see. Not planted at the generator at all. And look at Subroza as well going on that full flank. That might take a long time to develop. It might take him out of the play. Now jmoh has dropped hazed in the attempt. Genghsta is going for this ult to do damage. He's going to get flanked in just a moment from Subroza, but Cutler's picked off neptune in the meantime. The flank just about to come through from Subroza, and there it is. So you can see the recon dart was getting ready to be pulled by Genghsta, but it now comes down to 2. It's jmoh and Shanks, 2 players that at various points have been the heroes for Immortals. Shanks from inside hell picks one off, but goes for the heal over the dismiss, and now it's all up to jmoh with just 8 HP. The spike is planted for him, but he's got a peek and he's solo on health. Does he have it? He's pulled the spray back, but I don't think he's got the spike. It's going to detonate in just a second. Immortals, they've managed to grab it by 0.20.
Match point.
Unreal.
Oh my God.
8 HP, and he comes through with this clutch. Wardell hops off the spike to go for the fight. I mean, 0.2. We had a 0.3 defuse already in this series. Now we have a 0.2 detonation. Down to the wire.
That was insane. So well done, but also because, like you called it, it was a little bit too slow on that rotation there from Subroza. They started 3 players towards B main to really think that the push was going to happen towards the B side, but instead, it was where it worked for Immortals, as we called before, the A side. The dark cover to the paranoid, a holdout tree. Opening into the site, a hold. Very well done for Immortals. A broken buy for TSM where they're low at this point. But a very slow pace, methodical for Immortals instead. And it seems as though they might converge back towards the B side, where you actually do have those 3 players from TSM that they stack towards B instead of A this time. As you saw, hazed trying to go for a paranoia early in front of the tree. They didn't really want to try, towards the A main. They didn't really try to push more than that. They're keeping them guessing, and I think this is really difficult here for TSM's position, especially after that kill. Long range with a Spectre, oh my God. You hate to see it.
Yeah, that should not be a thing. Great shooting from neptune. Here comes Cutler trying to come through. Nice shooting on the Stinger to at least equalize. Neural Theft was popped. Shock Dart's coming out as well from
30
Cutler to
seconds
try and
left.
do some additional damage. But they've managed to make it out onto the site yet again. The A site is the destination.
Spike planted.
There's the Hunter's Fury being popped by Cutler, looking for some pulses to land. Oh, just barely squeezes one in on the edge of jcStani, who's down now to 45 HP. A couple of bullets coming through the floor, connecting with Shanks. He's got to be careful, that's why he's playing off the edge of this one. Blaze Wall coming out to allow them across. I love this. They're going to clear out hell with this potentially, but no. He actually lands inside his teammate's molly, but he still gets a long-range shot. It's down to jcStani, 45 HP. He's going for the ult to get away, and he actually manages to escape. But does he? He's inside A main, and unfortunately not much can be done. We are going to overtime as TSM come up with a huge retake. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Switching sides.
Nope.
Overtime.
And back with the chat when they're looking at this game, when we looked at this series and they saw 13-2 on the first map, they're like, oh, these guys are throwing for seeding, blah, 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 blah. But you could tell, especially for a team like TSM, they're not here to play games to throw. They're actually here to play whoever they got to play, and they just want to continue winning so they can continue to walk away with the swagger that they always carry themselves with going into these matchups. But for Immortals, we talked about that storyline, how they had so much to prove on their end. With so many new players going in and out, thinking that they finally have a final 5. But unfortunately, one of their players are sitting behind, and you know what? That could be a main reason why they're stepping up their game into this game as well, to play first shot up. So there's different reasons right here for both of these teams to want to win, and both of these teams really want it. So back to another overtime scenario. Immortals this time versus TSM on Ascent, the third and final map to see who moves on to the grand finals of the UMG Close Qualifiers. Immortals starting off on the defender side this time. Subroza is working with his team, trying to take an early mid control. Hazed is going to be the one that's going to stay behind, but an Aldrone is going to see a lot. Well, I thought it was going to be a lot. It's just going to be Omen in the middle. So they spot Hazed. Aldrone to retaliate back on Catwalk. And Drone, Hazed working right behind it.
Right here.
Slow round coming in for TSM as they switch over to the attack. 45 seconds and we see them gain control of short. It's going to be a split play though. You can see them trying to work towards this B site. Shanks has to come up big with the stop on Subroza. Hazed is likely going to back off and play with Subroza as well, depending on what happens with Drone. Now, they seem to think that Drone could be here. You can see that play currently from Sova, who's watching it. It's a free kill from Genghsta. You saw that happen. Now, because of what just took place, they're actually backing off. They didn't like what they see. They didn't like what they read. They knew that the Sova had backed up the A side. That means that the player in B is isolated and alone. Or the player in A, excuse me. So that's why TSM doubles back and goes towards A, and it's a great read and allows them to get that spike down and set up for the post plan.
What I also like was that when Subroza was spotted by Shanks, he didn't try to bring the fight. He went for a satchel charge, which at the same time broke the trap wire, which kind of kept Immortals planted towards that B side and allows TSM to get that 3 versus 1 inside the site. Now the attempt to come through as Hazed is able to get the first kill onto Shanks. Make that a third onto the board. jmoh finally goes for the backstab as he runs through the doorway. Crossfire set up on A main. One more to go. One at hell, one at A main. jmoh out of bullets, pushing forward. That clock is ticking down. They are running up that clock, and Cutler gets the kill, and TSM takes the lead.
Switching sides.
Nice shooting from jmoh there, but running a little bit dry on the magazine. 2 choices, reload and risk the peak, or pistol and push. And I don't think either one was really destined to work out. Even if he gets that kill with the pistol, he still has to find a kill on one more player at the site and defuse the spike. There just wasn't time. The round at that point was already lost. So Immortals, backs against the wall. We'll see if they've got some fight left in them as they now switch over to the defensive side, or the attacking side, excuse me. Can they make this one count? jmoh sneaking out of B-Con towards mid. No mid presence currently for TSM. And again, we've talked about it. No sentinels means no tripwires. No nano swarms, no alarm bot, nothing mid to potentially get in their way and slow them down. Some spam is all that's coming through for the side of TSM. Drone with a nice flash, catches Shanks off guard. jmoh wasn't able to help. There's a blaze wall that comes through as well. They're continuing this fight towards B. and they're trying to get into the site. They found the collapse on the site they need, but that's a great peek from Cutler. It's now down to 2 for Immortals. There's still a chance, but hope is certainly dwindling. 15 HP for jcStani, and he's stuck in a terrible position on Sidewalk with the spike, no less. That shock dart terrifying as it comes around the corner. It's all up to Genghsta. Genghsta alone. There's a shot around the corner coming in from Wardell's off, but it doesn't come through in time. In the end, it will be Cutler who closes things out. TSM take the series 2-1 over Immortals, and an unbelievable third map that goes all the way to overtime.